Shane. Set your minds free, no locks and chains. Do what you load the dice. 50-50, we cold as ice. One thing cold, but a penny town red. Can't let that shit be in my hand, war gaming.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to Hobby Homies. We are your weekly tabletop podcast. I'm Shane, as always, hanging out with Churchy and Fox.
I wasn't ready for such a switch up.
Got you.
That was a switch up.
Got you.
Yeah, bro, I'm out. We're going to have to start. Take it from the top. I need 10 minutes to reset. Get it once over. My hair's a mess.
Be in my trailer.
Yeah. Call me when it's scene one. I don't want to know before then.
Today we have been playing a board game, Mage Knight,
Mage Knight.
which was fun.
Yeah. We have played this game a few times.
Yep. I think.
You can't remember, can you?
No, I know two distinct times. As of one was tonight, and one was like 2 weekends ago.
Sure.
Before that, nothing.
Could have happened.
Maybe.
Could have.
Some elements are familiar.
I have played it a handful of times as well.
Yeah.
So we've got a little bit of games under our belt. So Mage Knight, we're playing the Ultimate Edition as well.
Ultimate.
Because we don't muck
Nice.
around with no Standard Edition.
Nah, miss me with that.
That's not our game.
Yep.
So the Ultimate Edition includes the base game and I want to say 2 or 3 expansions.
Okay.
Now, I don't know what the expansions are because I've always just played the entirety of the Ultimate Edition.
Yep.
Which is like a big headache to learn. But this game
It's a lot.
is you couldn't really pin it down, but I would say it's like a fog of war map exploration adventure deck building game.
Diceless
Diceless
combat. There's
Yeah.
mana dice, which we'll explain a little bit later on. But
Yeah. So the mana
yeah.
dice. No, I'm just kidding.
they're a key part. They're crucial.
Yeah, they're crucial. You're right. Actually, I never thought of that. Like, basically, the whole game is diceless, and even these mana dice are, pseudo dice, I guess. So that's interesting. That's a great point.
Yeah.
And I've never played with 4 people before. We just played that then.
Yep.
It's a long game. I'll
preface
preface by saying it has 2 big negatives. The length, which is, arguably a positive for some people.
If you've got like time for a 6-hour game session,
Yeah, and some people love to, the more you add depth
Yep.
and complexity and all that stuff, the game blows out in time. So some people go, I want to sit down and have a big slog.
Make a day of it.
Make a day of it. Have
Yep.
a really rewarding experience. People love that about Axis and Allies, and you make it a full half a day, full day experience.
Weekend adventure.
Yeah, totally. So it's a pro and con, but it is lengthy. We played with 3 people the other day.
Yeah. Yep.
And even if we had to play the cooperative quick mode, the blitz mode,
Yep.
still feel like that would have taken 5 to 6 hours
I think so.
on our first playthrough.
And that's learning the rules, looking things up as we go. I feel like if you've played it like a good dozen times, excuse me, it would be much more smooth,
For sure.
Yeah.
Much more smoother.
much more smoother experience.
Yeah, hunch. And yeah, so it is quite lengthy. And it also takes up a lot of space.
Oh, you need like a 6x4 table for it.
Yeah, so we've filled 4/5 of the 6x4?
4/5, yep.
Yeah, specifically. What's 4/5 of a 6x4?
7.
7.
Yeah, at least 7.
We filled up 7.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's got a big footprint, and part of that is because you are exploring this tile-based map.
Which is awesome. Randomly generated.
Yeah.
Pre-game, you build this stack of tiles, shuffled together, and then as you explore, you draw tiles. And it's interesting how they have layouts for them.
Yeah.
So each tile they have icons on the edge of the tiles that fit together.
Yeah.
Like circles make circles, stars make stars.
Yeah.
And but there's little tiny numbers which indicate the bottom
Yep.
of the tile.
Yeah.
You were building to take the map, so I don't really understand how it works, but I thought that was interesting. Would have been, I don't know if it would work where you could just fit it how you would like.
Yeah,
you
so
have to stick to that sort of element.
the great thing, and it's really complex when you lay it out and look at all the different options. Yes, each tile can only go one way, but the combination of the random tiles, they've done it in such a way so that you can't really get these weird situations where maybe you're completely blocked out of an area by hills
Mountains. Yeah,
and things
yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
So somehow they've managed to think about the random order that these, I don't know, there's like 15 core tiles or whatever, could come out And so, so to just have them go any direction.
So they've made random a little less random to make a better experience.
For sure, because you would never play the same map twice in 50 games of Mage Knight with the rules as they are, you know, with the tiles laid out in that way. So let alone, there's probably no need to do the full random experience, which you could also do on your own. Yeah. Flip them whichever way you wanted.
I think.
Yeah, and see what breaks. And you probably play it a couple of times and go, I see why. They did it that way. Yeah.
Obviously, the designers have spent a lot of time playtesting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They know before they release a game like this as to why stuff can't be done the way we want it to be done.
Yeah.
You know?
More random. For a game we'll never play more than 20 times.
Yep.
Because who has the time?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So,
yeah,
I'd say that's the only two negatives I could think of is big. And you can definitely, with this game, there are so many options, which we'll talk about soon, that you can definitely get analysis paralysis. Yeah. So it's one of those games where you definitely need timers on each turn.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that blows out the game.
I got a bit of that.
Yeah. Oh, you spent at least 45 minutes on one of your turns.
Churchy tried to get a move of 7 and couldn't do it. 10 minutes later, we came back and he's still like, but if I've got 4 here and I've got 2 there.
Trying to balance the book.
It happens though. I like to think when I play games, I normally just go head first. I just go, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't analyze things enough.
Sure.
Even in this game, I was kind of like, how do I make this work? And you try to get combos running together and stuff like that. Even though everything... like your turn isn't really affected by what the other players are doing in the cooperative mode, but like it's so easy to just like think you've got a plan, get to your turn and be like, what am I doing?
And or you see them do something, you're like, actually, I think I could do something similar. I want to recruit someone because they just did it. So Mage Knight, to give a quick summation of like kind of what the game looks like, is you've got this map, you explore it. You've got it's a bit of a deck building because you've got this little deck of cards that you draw 5 from. Each of these cards allow you to do one of 2 things.
Yep.
Their basic ability, or one you can power up with mana, which is something that you can get in 3 different ways.
Yes.
It's like every mechanic in this game also has multiple different ways to achieve it.
Yep. You're not sort of pigeonholed into one particular thing, like one certain build. You can do things however you like in a way.
And it lets you get so creative with the combos that you do and the way that you do them. So you can grab a mana from the source. There's a bit of a source. You can always take one out of that.
That's where the dice come in.
Yeah. The dice create the mana source. Yeah. And so you roll up a bunch of them and they have random colors. So you might have like 2 blue mana, a red, a yellow, whatever.
Yep.
You take one of those out, you empower. With a blue mana, you empower a card that has a blue mana empowered ability. That allows you to maybe generate another mana token, but also play another card. And you're just pulling off these cool combos.
Yeah.
And at the start, you've got characters I think we can pick from 1 of 8. Maybe there's 10.
Sure.
Whatever there is.
I had a dragon.
You had a dragon.
Green dragon.
A dragon with a spell book.
Yeah.
That I think more just casts spells, which feels like a waste of the dragon's abilities.
I don't think it did any spells.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe just hit people with your book.
It's a big old book.
Binded, like...
Like, why are you hitting me with this blunt object? You're a dragon. Be a dragon. You're like, shut up.
Knowledge is the best weapon. Exactly.
Yeah. And I feel like that's what you were doing.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's crazy. You lay this thing out and you've got your fame track, which is how you win the game.
Yep.
With fame, kind of. You got reputation, so you can do things where it's like Fable in that way. You can do things that positively affect.
Be a bad boy.
Or a bad boy.
Or a goody two-shoes.
Being a goody two-shoes, like having better reputation means you can recruit people. Hey, by the way, you can recruit people.
Yeah, you get followers.
Yeah.
Soldiers, thugs, peasants.
Yeah, it makes them cheaper if you've got good rep, or if you've got bad rep, then things like thugs are cheaper.
Yeah.
And then you spend a resource called influence to recruit those, which you can generate a million different ways.
There are so many moving parts.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to look at the game and get overwhelmed. But it's one of those games where after the first 3 turns, you kind of know what you're doing.
Which is good, because 3 turns is probably about 4 hours in your first game. Oh, you mean turns. Yeah, sure.
And like, it's like one of those games, it's I really wouldn't pigeonhole it as like one of those games where it's like easy to learn, hard to master. Because I feel like it's not so easy to learn.
I would say it's difficult to learn.
Like, yeah, you know what you're doing and how you're doing, but then you get a card and then it just changes everything.
Yeah.
So you the base sort of first couple of turns, it's like, all right, I can move, explore, fight. And then you get a card which like lets you do some funky mana stuff. And it's
on
like,
it.
yeah, exactly. And it's like, okay, now I'm back to square one again.
Yeah, or unlock so many more options. You're like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's like, as you explore these tiles, they have, pictures on the tiles that denote what's on that hex. Because each tile is a hex tile with hexes on it or something. And, it might have a village or a monastery or a mage tower.
Yeah.
Or a magical glaive or a mana mine.
Or a maze.
Or a maze, yeah. Or a dungeon or a monster den or a city.
There's lots.
There's like 20.
There's heaps. And there's different terrain, forests, grasslands, swamps, all sorts of stuff.
And so you're weighing up all these things constantly. You're like, how much move points does it take me to get there? Do I have it? Can I generate it some other way? And then after I move to X location, can I interact with it in a beneficial way? And interacting with things might be fighting a monster, going down into a den, seeing what's in there. It might be recruiting. You can like raid villages to get cards for negative reputation. You can do all sorts of stuff. And mazes have their own little weird thing that you can do.
Yeah, there's different options you can do. There's different, you spend different move points to do different things in, mate. It's full on. It's like a little mini game in its own.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Yeah.
It's like how many move points, aka how long are you committing to being in this maze? The longer you're in it, the better the rewards could be, but the higher the risk, basically. So it's such a broad game in that sense, and that's why it's a bit weighty to try and teach people. I feel like how do you feel, Churchy, after having played not quite an entire round? Do you feel like you got a good grip, or?
I think for the most part, like after a few turns, it's fairly like you can sort of follow what's going on and you can figure out like what you're supposed to do and what cards do stuff. But then I felt like it was fairly easy to like, because there is so many different things going on and there's so many different cards that have like slightly different effects and stuff, and there's that like extra effect on them and stuff. It's easy to like slightly misread something, plan something out entirely, and then you're like, hang on a minute, I've completely messed this up because
for sure
I didn't quite understand that or whatever. But again, I feel like that's just like a beginner thing of once you've played, I'm sure like once you played another 3 turns after that, you'd probably be pretty familiar with like, okay, now I know this is that, this is what this mana thing is, and that's this mana thing. And like once you iron out those details, it's probably not,
and that makes, because it's not just like when you fight a monster, it's not just fighting a monster. No. It's like, and it's not even as simple as going, because you could teach people combat. You could say, this is its block value, this is its attack value, and this is how you kill it, this is how combat works. But then every time you flip over these monsters, it has like 4 or 5 extra symbols on there.
It's like, okay, so this one's poison, this one's brutal, this one's swift. There's so much.
With the combat, even that, the way they dealt damage felt like another extra step. The way you were explaining how it was like, it does one and then you block one and then it, or whatever it was. It's a really, I've never seen anyone do damage like this game does it. It's super interesting because damage, your character doesn't get like tokens on it. It doesn't have health points per se. The wounds go into your hand. Then when your turn is done and the round's over, it gets cycled into your deck. So instead of drawing 5 cards, 5 useful cards, you might draw 3 and then 2 wounds. And so it kind of is more of an exhaustion mechanic where you're doing less per turn. And then eventually when you have 5 wounds in your hand, you can't do anything.
You can't do nothing.
Your whole turn's over.
There are ways to discard those though. Like I saw one of the cards I had, which, you could spend a mana to discard wounds. Yes. Which would get them out of your hand.
And just put them in your discard pile to then return to your deck at the end of the turn to get drawn next round. Sorry. And you can heal, but heal's expensive as well. Healing's not easy to do. You can also put wounds onto your followers, but that makes them wounded. So you have to heal them before you can even use them again. So, but the wound mechanic is very interesting because it's like if you take damage at all, you get a wound. Then your armor value comes off whatever's damage left. If they've still got stuff left over,
you take another wound.
You take another wound, and you remove your armor again. You keep going through that process until all the damage that they've assigned to you is gone.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's really interesting. I like it. It can fill your hand with wounds. You do feel wounded.
Yeah. Yep.
As you're playing through a game with 5 wounds throughout your deck, you feel wounded, which is great.
Yep. Even in your hand, it's like, okay, I've got 2 wounds. I've got 3 cards where I can do stuff.
Yeah.
Two cards are just taking up space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so many times, and you kind of get an idea of what that would feel like. When you play the game, you've only got 2 cards left in your hand, and you're like, well, only having 2 is useless.
Yeah.
Imagine that's every turn because
Yeah.
you've drawn 3 wounds.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, it is a great mechanic. I do love that. What do you think, after playing Mage Knight a few times, is your favorite parts about it? And then one thing that you don't like?
I like the day-night cycle. I like how spells are more powerful at nighttime.
Yeah.
I like how there is a sort of a persistent mana pool.
Yep.
It's like one of those things where it's like, sweet, I get first turn, I get all the best choices.
Yes.
And then it's like second player gets the next, and the last person gets the dregs.
Yep.
You know, it's kind of like Silver Tower had a thing where it's like there was wild dice or whatever, and yeah, the person that went first could take them. Some of them would become locked.
Yep.
But then it's like, it's the same thing. It's like the last player just gets whatever's left over.
Sure.
You know, yeah, okay, the round token might pass and someone else goes first next time.
Yeah.
But it's just, you're still having those moments where it's like you've got nothing. With Mage Knight, you have access to all of the mana at all times.
Yeah.
Eventually, you know, you start re-rolling it, and you may get a night symbol, which when it's daytime, that dice is now
Depleted,
put to the side. So, you know, you've got 1 fewer dice or whatever, or maybe if you roll real lucky, you've got, you know, unlucky, sorry, you got bugger all. But it felt persistent. There wasn't any times where I was like, there's no mana dice, I can't do anything.
Yeah.
There was always something that you could do, you could implement with different... like, it's hard to not elaborate on every aspect of the game, because, you know, you could start diving into, like, the mana dice. There's, like, blue, red, you know, white, green...
And then 2 wilds, depending on whether it's night or day.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. Like, you know, without explaining all of that, it makes it hard to explain that aspect of the game.
Yeah.
But I think that is probably my favorite. I think there are some parts where it's kind of like a bit not bland, but like having like few combat cards in my hand. There was times when I had no ways to do attacks.
Yeah.
You know, granted, it was kind of early in the game.
Yeah.
But still, I'm like, okay. And then, like, the issues of the randomness of the tiles, where it's like, okay, there's deserts there. So it's going to take, like, 10 move to get through the deserts, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
So it's like 2 turns of movement if you're lucky.
And I think there's a few problems that alleviate that issue. I think when we played just now, we had a map that only gave us 2 tiles.
Yeah.
Where I can flip it to give us 3, which spreads us out more. Which means there's more options that you have right in front of you from the start. So you can sort of already look and go, there's deserts at the end of that tile, so I'll go this way or whatever. So that helps in one regard. But you're right. It can feel like if you've got no attack in your hand at all, and you really want to attack something, you can still... What I like is you can still spend those 4 attacks. Yeah. But it's nowhere near as good, or it might not kill the monsters that are present. So you just got to go, all right, well, what can I do? Yeah. All I got is move, so I'm going to have to get creative with that. Yeah. The mana dice, like you said, are good for kickstarting your turn, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
It kind of helps you go, all right, I've got not much, but having at least 1 mana I can pull out of the source every turn gives me that little... But I also like the thematics of it, because all the mana in the day... If we use that mana collectively a lot, there's a higher chance of it slowly throughout the day getting depleted.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Which is really cool. A lot of their stuff, they've got a great story that I don't care about, but it's really well done and really tied in with their theme.
I kind of thought that. I'm like, what are we doing? Like, we're exploring this realm to are we rescuing these cities that have been captured? Are we capturing the cities? What are we like? What are we doing? Like, I was like, when we set it up, obviously having four models on there, and the one starting hex, there was a little icon on there. Yeah, and I was like, "What's that?" And you're like, "Oh, that's like a portal or a gate or something."
Yeah, which I don't know for a fact. I just saw it looks like a portal, so I was like, "That's portal."
I guess we've just like opened a Stargate and just traveled through or something.
Exactly. We've gone forward in time to the past,
Yep.
where in the present we're fighting the
Back
things.
to the future.
Exactly.
Yep.
Well, so it puts you in control of one of 7 powerful Mage Knights as you explore and conquer a corner of the Mage Knight universe under the control of the Atlian Empire.
Yep.
So there you go. Build your army, fill your deck, take on
Sure.
powerful spells,
Taking on
explore
baddies.
caves. Yeah. So it's, all right, cool. So with these Mage Knights,
Yes.
apparently,
Yep.
so that's the theme. But it does have a whole section on it about the Atlian, whatever it's called. But I do like how well it ties in the themes. And even little things, like you said, the difference in day-night is not just one thing. It's, it's which mana dice are wilds.
Yeah. Yep.
It's the deserts cool down at night, so they cost less to walk over.
But the forests are more scary at night, so they take longer to get through.
Spookier, so you got to be more cautious.
Spooky
Don't want to
forest.
run into a branch. Exactly the
Or a
worst.
Big spider web.
Ugh, yuck. Just don't even go. And like you said, spells are more powerful during the nighttime.
Yep.
And things like that. So that's really cool. So it's also solo. It's one of the best solo games in the world. It's co-op. It's PvP. It's got so many different options.
Have you played this solo?
I have played it solo once.
Okay.
It's really good.
Yeah.
I understand why it's so highly rated as a solo game.
Yep.
But I think it was way better than I thought it could have ever been. Even just I just played with a dummy. You can play with a baddie,
Yep.
like another AI guy. That's one
Yep.
of the characters in there. It's one of the expansions. I just played it with the dummy AI, which kind of like keeps your turns honest.
Yeah.
Keeps the time going.
Yep.
And I found it so fun just trying to work through each turn, giving myself a time limit. I also love in this game that there's almost a satisfaction in knowing you can never play the perfect hand
Yep.
every round.
Yeah.
There's too many variables.
Definitely.
And so I love that you can't finish the game and go, I played that perfectly.
Nailed it.
I'm done.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
There's always that call to me that goes, have another crack.
Yeah.
You can optimize better.
Yep.
It's definitely a game of min-maxing in that regard. But yeah, no, it's great. Did you already say one thing you didn't like about it?
Yeah.
It's probably
Which was the stuff.
the stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
true. Yeah, how you can kind of get limited sometimes.
Yep.
You want to do one thing, your hand won't allow it.
Yeah.
Yeah. They do have that cool mechanic that sort of tries to combat that, but yeah, it is difficult.
Yeah. What's your favorite part of it?
I just love options.
Yep.
In any game I play, I want to be able to do 1,000 things. And no game does that aspect, I think, as well as Mage Knight. No board game, anyways. Like, you listeners would have heard us already talk about so many different mechanics. So
Yeah.
many different types of things on the map. So many different cards in your hand to interact with those things.
Yep.
So many different spells. Yeah, and so much different deck building options. We haven't even touched artifacts or some of the extra rules in there.
It just adds complexity, though.
Yeah, exactly.
All these things,
That's
all
it.
these variables, all these options just make the game more heavy.
Yeah, 100%. So if you're not into heavy games, Mage Knight is not for you.
Yeah.
Don't even try it thinking, I don't like heavy, but the game sounds great.
Yeah.
You're going to get the heavy before you get the great.
Yeah,
So, yeah. But I do like the trade-off. Happy to do it. I think despite how complex and weighty it is, it's surprisingly easy to teach and learn.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, so they've really navigated their complex web of rules well.
Yep.
But I mean, there's no escaping just the vast quantity of the rules. So
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like it's almost like a dungeon crawler
yeah,
in a way.
yeah,
You know, it's got that sort of aspect to it where there's like, you know, you're coming along, you're exploring, you're fighting monsters that you come across.
yeah,
Having the ability to like choose whether you're fighting them sometimes is interesting.
yeah,
You know, you might reveal something and be like, okay, no.
Yeah.
We're not going near that.
yeah,
You know, maybe it's too late and they will engage you.
yeah.
If you try to move past them or something like that, you might
Well,
have
that's
to
what-
move back.
So there's a lot of them. Churchy went down a monster den
Yep.
and found a giant worm, and he was like, I can't kill it.
Yep.
That's a risk sometimes. Is you're like, all right, well, you're copping the wounds.
Like you're in its home.
Good luck.
Yeah.
It's not going to let you out.
No, what are you going to do? Just
Sorry,
thanks,
mate.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Give you your coat on your way out.
sorry, I meant to not be here. And the worm's like, oh,
This isn't my house.
Slams Mackenzie. I just want a party. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know why I thought of Slims when I saw the little worm character.
Yeah,
Kind
yeah.
of reminds me of Slims. I don't
Doesn't
know.
Slim have like 2 mouths? No.
What's that?
He's got 2 mouths?
Does he have 2 mouths? I don't think he
no,
does.
I don't think so. This one does.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
You're thinking of this one.
Yeah, 2 mouths, 1 tongue.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you going to do with that? I don't know.
I don't know.
Leave that with you.
Kill Churchy, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was really cool. And all of us sort of had different, like when we just played before, we all had slightly different ways of playing, which is cool.
Yeah.
Like Churchy was recruiting a heap of people to his aid.
He's killing it.
Rory was confused. And you and I were playing the game. So
Yeah.
it was good. I do like, I really rate, I think I got this maybe at the start of COVID because it was a solo game.
Okay.
And that's when I first most people recommend play it solo to completion twice
Oh, really?
before you start teaching your friends this game.
Yeah, righto. That way, I guess you know enough of it.
Which I did,
Yep.
at the start of COVID.
Yep.
Now I'm trying to relearn.
So you didn't kickstart this?
No, I didn't. No.
Bought it?
I bought it. I just saw it. I went, what's the number 1 solo game?
Yep.
There was like, I went to the top
Gloomhaven?
5.
What's it called?
Yeah, Gloomhaven's highly
Gloomhaven.
rated.
Yeah.
So was this. So was Gaia Project. Spirit Island.
Oh,
Um,
classic.
because, and when I played this, the context is I just played Root solo.
Yep.
A woodland game of might and
Mystic.
whatever. That's Mice and Mystics. And it was garbage.
Might and Right.
One of the worst solo experiences that I've had.
Right. It's Might and Right.
Might and Right. Woodland Might and Right.
Yep.
Okay. Sure.
Guarantee it.
So that's a HH gas.
Lock it in.
right there. And that was horrible. And then I bought this and I'd played this and I was like blown away.
Yep.
So I went from like 0 to 100 in that regard. So highly rated as a solo game. Expensive though. Unlimited edition, $200.
Oof.
Ultimate edition.
Oof.
I know I said unlimited.
It's basically the same thing.
Exactly.
How much is the limited edition?
$200. No, I got no idea. Probably a hunch. I'd have to say probably a hunch.
At least.
Yeah. And honestly, no, I would get the ultimate every time.
Yeah.
It adds so many more months. It just adds more stuff.
You don't know what expansions that are there.
No, in fact, a lot. Like I know one of the expansions is called Krang, and that introduces the Krang character, which we've never used. And one expansion adds the little samurai dude as a instead of a dummy player, and we've never used that either. So, but it's got more stuff, Shane.
More stuff to not use.
It's got more tokens.
I was watching you set up, and like there's like just round tokens.
I don't even know what they
hexagonal
do,
tokens.
dude. I don't even know.
Other things,
Yeah.
and like it's just all staying in the box.
Yeah, I don't know what it does. That's why it's staying in there. It's not my fault. I just don't know. It's nothing to do with me. It's irrelevant.
True.
It's just these tokens. I have no control over them.
That's true.
Except to put them back in the box.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all to do with those other characters that we haven't
Krang.
touched yet. Let's just learn the game.
Yeah.
And then we'll introduce Krang.
And then we'll take a look at Krang and see what he's all about.
Let's see what Krang's got going on. Yeah, for sure. So that's the great thing for us, like there's so much replayability with it.
Yeah.
Even if you're just talking about these massive decks of spells, artifacts, advanced actions, units, advanced units, and adding all of that to your deck with a new map, with new enemies that flip over.
Yeah.
So even that, but then you're talking about adding all those extra stuff with scenarios. There's a whole new scenario book I've never even opened.
Oh.
So
Shit.
we just play the base scenarios out of the original book, but there's a whole book full of scenarios.
Yeah, nice.
Maybe we should play that.
Do it.
Let's do it now. We've got 6 hours?
Not enough time.
Curious to know if anyone listening has played Mage Knight.
Yeah. Yep.
And what their thoughts on it are. Or if you have any questions about Mage Knight before you want to make the plunge, or maybe you're a bit more curious, let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
Jump in the Discord.
Yeah, you can find links to Discord on hobbyhomies.com. We also have a Facebook page, Instagram, all that sort of stuff.
We got all this stuff. We got a TikTok.
Yeah, we do.
Have you seen our most recent TikTok?
No, I don't watch TikTok.
Yeah, I
What a
got to show you
TikToker.
after this. Funny ass.
Sure.
It's not about us.
Okay.
It's about two people
Fair.
that aren't us. So, yeah.
So yeah, links on hobbyhomies.com to all our stuff. Check out our new channel, our alternate channel, which will be where we post all of our battle reports, vlogs, sort of non-podcast episode related content.
Totally.
So that's just Hobby Homies. You can find that with a link in the description as well. So please subscribe to that.
What if you point up? Can they, like when you're explaining the description and you point up, does that mean they can't see it?
Well, the description is below the video.
It is, but you point down every time.
Because that's where it is, below the video.
Yeah, but like, I think they know that. So I'm wondering if you didn't point down.
It's just
would they
it's an
find it still?
involuntary action
Yeah, I
that
know,
comes when I
can tell.
say, check out the description. My hand just does that.
I know. I've watched it every time in disbelief. I was like,
you
don't even know you
talking
did
to
it.
someone at work and I'll say, the job description.
is that below? It's
I don't
not.
know.
Yeah. In that specific example, it's not. But every
Could
time
be.
you say description, you just point down.
Yeah. Have to.
So what did it map? Did it match the perp's description? Or
Did it match it? Yes.
yeah, it did.
It did.
Yeah.
Yes. So check out that. Check out Binge Worthy Breakdown as well. Breaking down Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Great series.
Girls are smashing through season 4, halfway through the series.
Wow,
They can start doing episodes, movies. Check out movies as well.
that's cool. Wait, they're gonna start breaking down movies.
Yeah, like once every 2 months, they're going to break down a movie.
Yeah, cool.
Which will be nominated by their listeners.
Oh,
which
so
could be
good.
you if you're a listener.
Do we count? Can we nominate?
We absolutely can nominate.
I've got
movies.
ideas.
Yep.
Of what I want them to break down. Mm-hmm. It's good content.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, yeah, and also a Patreon for as little as $2 a month. You can get early access to all of our videos, and special Discord roles.
I thought you said, and also our Patreon. Like we had one, and you were thanking the one Patreon.
No,
Gone are those days. Where we had one
for you.
Patreon.
Go on to those days.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. So yeah, massive shout out to our patrons.
To our one Patreon.
As always, Burnsy, Final Dinosaur, Lethal, Gridlock, Axe, Anax, MJ, Whack, the Ewok, Test Dummy, and Black Apollo.
And we got Moose, Elko, Churchy, thanks Churchy, Rad, Ollie, Hockers, Penny, Aggro, Don Hua Don, and Big Roach. Y'all are amazing. You should play Mage Knight unless you don't want to. Then
You don't
do
have
something
to.
else. Yeah.
Do what you want. You're
We ain't got a
you're
gun to your
you.
head.
Don't listen
Be
to
you.
us.
Huh?
Don't listen to us.
Don't listen to it. Well, it's too late, man. It's the end of the episode. They've already listened if they're here.
They're gone.
Well, then we can say whatever we want.
No, well, I mean, it's still in the internet.
I'm going to say
Have a good day. Goodbye.